Hi, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, I'm going to be putting together my Project Life spread for October 8th through October 10th, 2025, and that's when we were visiting Marrakech, Morocco, and I'm using the History Story Kit from Ali Edwards. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this spread covers the week of October 8th through the 10th. So I know that's not a week, but there are no rules and I can pretty much do whatever I want with this project, which is really freeing if you haven't felt that before. If you think you have to do weekly spreads, you don't. I typically do weekly spreads Monday through Sunday. However, when we travel, I break my spreads up differently based on our destinations. So I originally had the 8th through the 11th here because those were the days we were in Marrakech. The 8th was our travel day from Barcelona. If you missed it, the last week in Project Life was our Barcelona spread. So I do have a process video for that one if you're interested to check that one out. For this spread, I wanted to do that travel day and the time in Marrakech, which was really only the 9th and the 10th because the 11th we did a day trip. And so I decided to move that into the next spread, and I'll explain more about that in that spread and how I'm going to approach that. So for this one, I have a lot of photos. I actually struggled to really narrow down the photos I wanted to include, but that's okay. I ended up selecting some, and I'll go through that in a second. For this spread here, so this one from Barcelona, you kind of see a sneak peek here. This card, well, so for this spread, I used the Ali Edwards travel collection, and I wanted to use this heart transparency. I thought it'd be pretty neat to be able to see through it and kind of have that transparent element, but I also wanted to use this as my title card, and I kind of tested that out, and I think it works to put the stickers here because you won't see them too much through the black heart. You'll be able to see it, of course, but I think it's still pretty neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I think I want to put some sort of label sticker to put the dates. So I need to see what I have to do that, but I pulled these alphas that were from that travel collection to do that. So that's what I'm gonna do on this card. I'm not gonna do that quite yet. And then I'm gonna lay out all of my cards. So I did print one 4x6 photo. This over here, I originally had, I don't know if you can tell without the cards here, but this is the divided page protector that has two 4x6s and the rest are 3x4s. And I originally had 9 3x4s over here because most of my photos are taken vertically these days because I do share a lot on Instagram stories, and that's just the orientation I gravitate towards. So I wanted to be able to include those photos. Plus, when you do the vertical orientation in these page protectors, you get more photos. So I originally had planned that, but because of the spread I want to do in the other side for a day trip, I knew I needed at least one horizontal. So I switched it out for this, and on this side, I'm gonna just treat them like 3x4 pockets. So I want to put, let's see, I want a photo here, and then a photo here, maybe this one. And then on this side, I'm going to do, I think I ended up printing a little bit more photos than I really needed. I think maybe I'll put one here like that. I'm not sure yet, but that's kind of my initial thought for this spread. So I struggled to narrow down my photos because I had a lot I wanted to include, and you can see that this is not sightseeing, this is a photo of my journal, but that was a big piece of this experience. So the dates that we were in Marrakech, not only were we visiting Marrakech, but we also celebrated my 39th birthday. But unfortunately, I was sick. I had a pretty bad cold, so that also impacted things. So I definitely want to include some stories about that. So I was trying to decide what kit and what products I wanted to use for this spread. And I have been a story kit subscriber from Ali Edwards since the very beginning through the end. So I have every single story kit that was ever made. Most of them I have used either entirely or enough that there's just a few stray pieces in my collection, in my stash, but there are a few story kits that I never touched just because I haven't planned them. I just never got around to it, or I did touch them and only did a few things, so they're still kind of kept as kits. So I went through my stash of those and I found this one. This is the History Story Kit. And I think that maybe I've made one project from this before. I'm not entirely sure, but I decided that I wanted to use this kit for this spread because I think it will go well with the birthday theme. And I like the colors for Morocco and like the history of all of the things that we saw. So I do think that this kit is a little too themed. So I might struggle a little bit, but I might need to be a little creative with how I decide to use the products, but I'm gonna kind of go through it and see what I want to include. So I did initially kind of dig through here. So there is kind of a mess, but let's just organize the products. So typically with story kits, I do plan these in advance. Again, the story kits are no longer a subscription from Ali Edwards. They ended at the end of 2024, but now there's the storyteller kits, which are very similar. And both of these types of kits, what I do is I tend to approach them the same way, where when I first get the kit, I go through it and I plan specific projects, including Project Life. I did not do that for this kit. You can tell that some of the pieces are missing because sometimes I'm just not in a planning mood, or for whatever reason, I just wanted to use the kit for one or two projects. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna use pieces from here without planning it in advance, which is a slightly different approach than I typically do. So I'm just gonna go through the kit. There's these large kind of embellishments. I don't think that these really fit what I wanna do here, so I'm gonna put those to the side. There's also these large frames. I don't know that these necessarily fit, but maybe I could see using these to create my own journaling card or something like that. So I'm gonna kind of put these over here. And then there are these pieces that are like the center, which I could see using one of these or maybe two of them as well. Let's see, there's also some word phrase strips, which I've clearly used a few. During 2024, which is when I think this kit came from, whatever time period this kit came from, there were 6x8 papers. So this is obviously a like fill in the blank. I could put this in my childhood album or something at some point, but that does not work for this spread. This one and this one are both pretty good backgrounds. I could use them, so I'm gonna put them over here as possibilities, and this one is gonna go over here with these words off camera here of things that I'm not going to use. Okay, and then they also had the 3x8. So this one I think is a good jumping off point for a layout. You could use it in a Project Life insert or Project Life. Like I could use this to document my birthday, but I'm not going to. But this one I think might be good for my birthday. So I'm gonna keep that one as an option. And then let's go through the 4x6 cards. Now I don't have a 4x6 pocket really. I do honestly actually have some, but I have blocked them off with 3x4 photos, but I can always shift things around if one of these works. Like this one could work for the birthday, or this one. That's a little bit much. And then like these ones are more specific prompts that don't necessarily fit what I'm doing here. So I'm not gonna use any of those. Let's go through the 3x4 cards. So if I remember correctly, there's these ones here that are all kind of similar. And when these kits did that, I like to kind of use these together, and I don't want to use all of these in the spread, so I'm probably not going to use any of these here. I think that this one could work for journaling, just a general about visiting Morocco or visiting Marrakech. I also really like this one. This could also be a good filler. I don't know that I need two fillers like that. I don't know. I mean, I could use this one or that one as a filler card. And then I think I want to crop this one down to document kind of my birthday, essentially. So let me get my paper trimmer and do that. Let's just see how big this becomes. I think I'm gonna crop just a little bit off the top so I have a little bit more of the lines. And then these are wider than the 3 inches. So what I need to do is, I think they're 4. No, they're not. They are 3 3/4, which means I need to do like 1/4 of an inch off each side. That's more than 1/4 on that side, but I think that's pretty good. That for my birthday. And then this one, I could just create a 3x4 lined card here, which might be good just for some additional journaling. I'm not sure I want to use that, but I also have these frames. And I kind of want to document this coffee place. So I think I'm gonna do that in a frame, and I'm gonna use this to create a background paper. So let's do that. So, and like I said, this doesn't have anything on it. It's just a pattern. So I could use this really in any spread, but I like it here because I like it goes with the color scheme. And part of why I selected this kit was because the color scheme I think was really nice for Morocco. It's muted, but there's still some color, and I think it just highlights the photos. There we go. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put like this here. And this photo needs to be trimmed a little bit more. So one of the things we did in Morocco was go to this coffee shop, Bacha Coffee, which was definitely a neat experience. So I'm thinking I want, and this is from there as well, to do something like that, and then I'll do my journaling in here. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna do this and back this on there to add my journaling. So I'm gonna do that instead of the lined card there, because I don't think I need quite that much journaling. Just making some dots to see the size I need. There we go. Adding a little bit of adhesive around the edge. Doing it on this scrap paper here so I don't get adhesive all over my desk, because I want just a little edge on here. There we go. And then I can put this guy right on top there. There we go. So that is going to hold some journaling. And then, let's see, I need something else here. And I'm thinking I could put something coffee related. I do have a ton of ephemera from this trip. Usually I save that for my album, but I'm going to just take a quick peek and see if there's anything I want to include there. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this over quickly. And this is pretty much everything from Morocco. So I do also collect money. And then I have some of these are from other locations in Morocco. But like this is not duplicated. But see, I have duplicates of this. So I could put like these two things in here because those are duplicates. This is like my absolute favorite. It's from this coffee place. Oh, and it's exactly 3x4. But I really want to put this in my album. I wish I had gotten 2 of these, but that just wasn't an option. I did also get a lot of these. Well, I ripped that one. I don't need those. But these are from the hotel. So I could also crop that down. And then I have our, let's see, plane tickets. I have some plane tickets. And then some flyers, not a lot of duplicated things though. Oh, this is duplicated from Basha Copy. I did get multiples of this. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I forgot I bought that too. That's very cute. What I'm gonna do though is use these business cards that I've gotten duplicates of, and I'm gonna put those in a pocket. Okay, so I'm going over to my stash, and I had this like section of just like other kind of pockets and embellishments and things, and I'm just seeing if any of these work. Like this could work, but I think it might be too small. Like this one's not gonna fit in there. I could just put only the one. These are obviously too small. I also have tags here. A lot of these tags, honestly, I should move into, I have a tag section in my, right here for my die cut pieces. So I'm gonna move the tags in there. The smaller ones anyways. All of these are just small little tags. I think these are like gift tags. I'm gonna leave the pockets, and then I have some just like specialty Project Life cards. This is not what I'm really going for here. All these due date cards. This is just kind of where I put random things. So I have all these days of the week cards. Ooh, this is a cute like pleather thing. Not what I'm going for though. Just going through these stacks though sometimes is helpful, because I have these things just sitting in my stash and I forget what's in here. This is cute. I don't think that is the right colors for this spread. I don't know that I really want the florals, so I'm not gonna use that. I have this one. It has a little thing in here, but let's see. I don't love it, but that is a possibility. Oh, see, there's more here that are like that. The black and white one, though, is probably the best. Oh, no, this one. This is the best. Let's see, we got seed packets, some other transparencies. These are all transparencies. Vellum. Just looking for the pockets. This is like a letterpress card. And these things. These are extras from some Cocoa Daisy stuff, which I actually have another space where I keep these now, so I'm gonna move those. And then again, some tags. That's not a tag. I'm gonna move the tags into here. These large tags I'm gonna leave in here though. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. I'm gonna put this back in my stash. Okay, so my plan with this is just, I'm gonna slip some of these guys in here, and it's gonna go inside the page protector. So you're probably not gonna be able to pull them out unless you like go, like you won't even be able to see them all, but you'll know that they're in there. So I'm just gonna slip this in like this. And you can see that there's some stuff in the pocket if you wanna pull it out. I like that idea. So then here, I've got this to journal about the coffee, this to journal about our just general visit in Marrakech. And then this is going to be about my birthday. So I think that that's good. I think what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and put you guys on voiceover so I can start getting the rest of the details put together in this spread. Okay, so like usual, this comes together pretty quickly because I have a plan going in. I'm gonna start with my title card because this is one that I was super excited to create. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I had planned this one out in the last spread because I wanted it to be on the back of that heart. So what I did was I pulled over a label sticker from my stash. I really love these long, narrow label stickers from Ali Edwards. She doesn't make them that often, but they are like the best. I use them all the time. I wish I had so many more. These ones were from December Daily, but they're not really holiday themed. It just has that kind of a dark green heart on it, which I thought matched this kit perfectly. Then I'm going to write Marrakech at the top using the white alpha stickers that came in the collection, the travel collection. I think they were part of the main kit, I believe. So when I do a travel spread, I like to write out the name of my destination on my title card or somewhere on my spread, because then it kind of, when you flip to that page, you instantly know that it's a travel spread and where I was. So for this one, I'm writing Marrakech. And I wrote it out on scratch paper first, just so I could figure out what the middle letter was and make sure I was going to center it by working from the middle out. I also was trying to make sure that I spelled it correctly. Marrakech is sometimes spelled with an S rather than a C. And I think that's because it's not originally in English, so it's translated differently. And I decided, before I went there, I wasn't sure which one was the correct one, but I think with a C is probably correct because that's what they have written on signs when you are there. So I decided to go with that version, even though in my mind, I feel like the S makes more sense, and which is probably why it's written like that sometimes. So I had flipped it over there so you could kind of see what you would see from the back, because this is a see-through transparent card, but you can't really read it through the back. So it's perfect for having on the Barcelona spread on the other side as a filler card. This journaling card here I'm going to use to hold my main journaling about our visit to Marrakech and just kind of what we did and what dates we were there and that type of thing. I am journaling with a Uniball 1 pen, and this is my new obsession for gel pens. If you've been following me for a while, you know I love pens. Fountain pens, gel pens, all of the pens. And I always go through phases with them. This is one that has been recommended many times, and I didn't pick it up for the longest time because it is short and has like a chunky barrel, which usually isn't something I like. But when I was in Barcelona, I went to Muji and they had one of these pens as a sample pen, and I tried it out and I actually really liked it. So I ordered one online and I'm obsessed. So this is my current go-to gel pen. I will link in the description box below if you are interested in trying a new gel pen. This is the 0.38, but I am normally a 0.5 girl, and this is the perfect width for me. Then I'm going to add some stamping in the little box at the top. And I have these little alpha stamps. This is just one of my kind of go-to products. I got it from a local shop called Zaka Joy. And there's other ones, like there's ones like this on Amazon and stuff that you could purchase too. I highly recommend having just a nice little alpha to go to because it's so easy. So I'm just stamping out the word October there. And then in that little box, it had some other, I think it's a date or something like that, or time. I think it was like AM, PM. So I just added a word phrase strip to cover it up, which is great when you have cards that have words on them that don't necessarily fit your story. You can always cover it up with word phrase strip. I adhered these two cards together with a piece of scratch washi, or not really scratch, but like extra washi tape. I have a few rolls of washi tape in my stash that are ones that I don't really like or use as washi tape. I use them for things like that where you don't see them, and they're not kept with my other washi tapes. I added one of the chipboard pieces because those are going to be in a 4x6 pocket. I am just using that to my advantage and having that chipboard piece go across the two cards, whereas if those were in two separate 3x4 pockets, you wouldn't be able to do that. I pulled over some label stickers from my stash from Ali Edwards. These are just a neutral color that I thought worked really well with this spread, so I could add a few more details onto some of the photos. I added one here onto this 4x6 photo. This was a photo taken in one of the restaurants we went to, so I took this opportunity to journal a little bit about the meals that we had while we were in Marrakech. So I just wrote about just the kind of places that we went and how the food was really delicious. I really loved the food in Marrakech. We were really lucky. When we travel, food is a big part of travel for me, but I often find it's hard to track down good restaurants and places because it's hard to know, if something's going to be good. And I feel like there's not as much information online as there should be. I guess maybe it's because I'm from New York and everything is online here. But when you travel internationally, it's much harder to find things online. At least that is something I have found. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and slip everything into the pockets on this side of the page. So this page protector, you can see, is kind of weird the way that the cards go in, and that's because it has a flip out on the other side. You can see that in that process video. I linked it in the description box below for the week before, which was our visit to Barcelona. But it does give you some additional pockets, so I do like the option of having this page protector, and I will link that in the description box below if you're interested in those flip out pockets. For the right hand side, now I'm going to work on this top card here. So I'd crop down that pattern paper as a base, and then I'm going to adhere this photo on here. Because I'm playing in a 4x6 pocket and not a 3x4 or two 3x4s next to each other, I have the ability to kind of shift that photo over a little bit so you can see a little bit of the pattern paper on the left. And I like that because it just kind of breaks up the grid just a little bit and provides a little more interest when you're looking at the spread. I adhered down this frame, and then I'm going to journal here about our visit to Bacha Coffee, which was definitely one of the highlights of Marrakech, although it had a 2-hour wait. So you guys should stay tuned because I did film a travel and document with me for all of these destinations. I don't know when I'm going to get to editing those and sharing them, partially because the travel and document videos, I love making them, but they are a little bit more work than some of my other videos, and they don't necessarily get as many views. I know that people do say they really like them, and I get positive feedback, and I enjoy making them, so I'm going to continue doing them, but it's a little discouraging sometimes. And I have so many videos that I want to make for you guys, and only so much time. I feel like I have enough ideas to do like a video every day, but I just don't have the time to do that, so I have to pick and choose. But anyways, if you are interested, those will be coming at some point, so you'll be able to see a little bit more about the places that I went in Marrakech. Anyways, moving back to what I'm working on. Now I'm working on this card about my birthday. So like I said, we celebrated my 39th birthday while in Marrakech. So on this card here, it says, "Dear future me, you're going to be just fine." I wanted to just journal a little bit about turning 39 and about celebrating my birthday. And so I stamped out 39, and I added this little puffy star from my stash from, I want to say that was like the night kit. So it's one of the story kits. It's an older product from Ali Edwards. And I'm just going to journal a little bit more here. I paired it with a photo of me taken in the hotel that I really liked, and I adhered them back together on the back using washi tape again, because these again are going to be in a 4x6 pocket. I think I said this at the beginning of the video, but for this side of the page, I originally had planned to have only 3x4 pockets because most of my photos that I took in Marrakech were vertical orientation. However, when I'm printing my photos and thinking about my layouts, I also have to think about what's going to be on the back because it's using the same page protector. And on the back, I'm documenting a day trip that we took on October 11th out to this place in the Saharan desert, and I have some horizontal photos I really wanted to include and print 4x6. So I knew I needed a page protector that had that 4x6 orientation that I could include. So that's why I switched this one up, and I'm just making it work. And that is a great way to be flexible, that you can always put two 3x4s in a 4x6 pocket if you need to. You just can't really go the other way. I guess you can and crop it in half, but it's just not the same look. Now I'm just adding a few word phrase strips to a few of the photos just to add a little bit more detail. Because this is a travel spread and my photos are very, I don't want to say important, but they're like more important than, to me at least, than in a regular spread because they're of destinations. They're probably more just better quality photos than a normal week where I just have photos of like my coffee and my cat. So I don't want to put too many embellishments on them, and I want to let the photos kind of stand for themselves. So some of the photos have nothing on them and the other ones have just one or two little pieces. Here's a look at that completed spread. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.